So it's written by Pearl S. Buck. Now, see, in your ninth class, you had a poem by the name of Road Not Taken, and that was written by Robert Frost. And in that particular poem, you had read that the poet was confused. He was in a dilemma, which road he should take. Okay, so in this particular chapter, we'll read. This chapter is about the war, the world war that is going on. The background is of the world war, and we'll read how a doctor is torn between his duty towards his country and his duty towards his profession, and what what he should do. He doesn't understand in the beginning, and then he thinks of then beyond reason, beyond logic, there are various other things also in life, like humanity and your professional loyalty and your devotion towards your duty. No doubt he's a patriotic person, but still what course he follows, that you would understand while we go through the chapter. So it says, it is the time of the World War. An American prisoner of war is washed ashore in a dying state and is found at the doorstep of a Japanese doctor. What do you mean by washed ashore? What is washed ashore? Yes, Vishwajit.
Washed ashore means that he just came. Means he just came out of the shore, and he was in a means he was wounded, and he just laid down on the beach.
Yes, and is found at the doorstep of a Japanese doctor. Should he save him as a doctor, as because it's his duty, he has been taught to save lives, or should he hand him over to the army as a patriot? So because the war is going on and the Americans are their enemy, so what he should do is, he's in a dilemma. So that is why he doesn't understand, and what course he adopts, that is what the chapter deals with. So Dr. Sadao Hoki's house was built on a spot of the Japanese coast. There, as a little boy, he had often played. The low, square stone house was set upon rocks well above a narrow beach that was outlined with bent pines. So if you're asked a question like where was his house, so the answer is given in these lines. And who was Dr. Sadao? He was a Japanese doctor, and there are certain more things about him that you would read in the coming lines. As a boy, Sadao had climbed the pines, supporting himself on his bare feet, as he had seen men do in the South Seas when they climbed for coconuts. His father had taken him often to the islands of those seas, and never had he failed to say to the little brave boy at his side, "Those islands yonder," yonder means over there. If you can see the islands over there, they are the stepping stones to the future for Japan. "Where shall we step from them?" Sadao had asked seriously. "Who knows?" his father had answered. "Who can limit our future? It depends on what we make it." So his father, he was of the firm belief that our future lies in our hands only. It depends upon us how we build our future. Sadao had taken this into his mind, as he did everything his father said. So his father, Sadao's father, had been a great inspirational force for Sadao in his life. He had taught him that our future depends upon us and how we build it. So his father, who never joked or played with him, but who spent infinite pains upon him, who was his only son. So from the very beginning of his life, the father was very serious towards the education of his child. Sadao knew that his education was his father's chief concern. For this reason, he had been sent at 22 to America to learn all that could be learned of surgery and medicine. So he wanted to be a doctor, and he was sent to the US to study surgery and medicine. And he had come back at the age of 30, and before his father died, he had seen Sadao become famous not only as a surgeon but as a scientist, because he was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. He had not been sent abroad with the troops. So he had not been sent to the army. Why? Because he was indispensable for the country. His need was there, because not only he was a great surgeon, he was also a scientist, and he was doing something about, he was perfecting, what was he doing? He was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. and that is why he was not sent with the army. Also, he knew there was some slight danger that the old general might need an operation for a condition for which he was now being treated medically, and for this possibility Sadao had been kept in Japan. So there was a chief reason. What was the reason? The reason was that the army general, who was now old, and he was undergoing treatment, and he believed and he trusted nobody except Sadao. So, and at any point of time, he could be needing an operation, a surgery, which only Sadao could do because he trusted nobody else. So that is why he was made to stay in Japan only. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. The unexpected warmth of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. Sadao watched mists hide outlines of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around the pines. Wreathing means encircling around the pines. In a few minutes, fog would be wrapped about the house too. Then he would go into the room where Hana, his wife's name was Hana, would be waiting for him with the two children. But at this moment, the door opened and she looked out, a dark blue woolen haori over her kimono. So what is a haori? The meaning is given. It is a loose outer garment worn over the kimono. And what's a kimono? It's just a Japanese dress, which is wide sleeved. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said nothing. He had met Hana in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. Now, why so? Because he knew that his father would never approve of a match with a girl who was not Japanese. His father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. He wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hana. And by what luck he had found her in the most casual way, by chance literally, at an American professor's house. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious to do something for the few foreign students, and the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. So he's remembering the time, the day when he met Hana. It was a time when one of his professors had invited him to his home for a dinner, and he did not want to go that day, but still he went. You know, and the students, the foreign students, along with him, they had accepted that kindness, that invitation. Sadao had often told Hana how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night. The rooms were so small, the food so bad, the professor's wife so voluble. She was so voluble, means she was so talkative, she was so loud. So they didn't feel like going there, but still they went. But he had gone, and there he had found Hana, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. So that was the time. The speaker is not working. Your speaker, your voice. Okay, fine. So now he felt, are you able to hear me? Is my voice audible? Astha, can you just respond? Astha Chauhan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware of the pleasure it gave him, even though they had been married years enough to have the two children. So they shared a very affectionate, a very loving relationship, both of them. For they had not married heedlessly in America. It was not a careless kind of and a reckless kind of a marriage. They waited for a long time to get married, and they didn't just casually. It was not a casual kind of a thing. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan. So they got married in the presence of his father alone, only. And when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way, although Sadao and Hana had talked everything beforehand. They were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. It was at this moment that both of them saw. Why are people so late? Still, I can find students waiting in the. So it was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mists. It was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean, flung, it seemed. What do you mean by flung? What is flung? He was flung up. What is, yes, Abhay, what is flung?
Throw forcefully.
Yes, he was thrown forcefully, and it seemed to his feet by a breaker, by a huge wave, by a heavy wave, he was thrown. he staggered. We have already read this word and we read it in the last chapter, the rat trap. He staggered a few steps. He walked with a lot of difficulty. His body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head. Then the curled mist hit him again. Who is that? Hannah cried. She dropped Sadau's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees and he was crawling. He couldn't walk straight, and then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. He walked a few steps but with a lot of difficulty and then he just fell flat on his face. So please mute your speakers, everybody. Yes. A fisherman, perhaps, Sadao said, washed from his boat. He ran quickly down the steps and behind him Hannah came, her wide sleeves flying. A mile or two away on the either side, there were fishing villages. But here was only the bare and lonely coast, dangerous with rocks. So even the fishermen, very rarely ventured in that area. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. It was covered with rocks. It was covered with sharp points. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. What does them refer to here? What does them refer to? The author says somehow the man had managed to come through them. Yes, Vishwajit. What is them here?
Ma'am, them basically means Sadao and his wife Hannah.
No. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. We are talking about that area. Yes, Gurkamal. Gurkamal. What does them refer to here? Yes, Gurkamal.
Yes, ma'am. Them refers to the difficulties he was facing.
Difficulties, the rocks, basically the rocks, the spikes, and he had managed to come through them, and he must be badly torn. But if he had managed to reach that place, that means he must be badly wounded. They saw when they came towards him that indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. So he was badly wounded on one side of his, if they just looked at him, they saw that he was badly wounded and the blood was oozing out of his body. And there was this, even the sand had a stain of blood. He is wounded, Sadao exclaimed. He made haste to the man who lay motionless. So he just hurried towards the man and the man was just lying motionless, inert, his face in the sand. An old cap stuck to his head, soaked with seawater. He was in wet rags of garments. Sadao stopped, Hannah at his side, and turned the man's head. They saw the face. A white man, Hannah whispered. Yes, it was a white man. It was a white man means he was an American. Okay? The wet cap fell away and there was his wet yellow hair, long, as though for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. Now Sadao remembered the wound, and with his expert fingers, so he was a very, he was an expert surgeon, and with his expert fingers he began to search for the wound. Blood flowed freshly at his touch. The moment he touched his wound, blood oozed out of the wound. On the right side of his lower back, Sadao saw that a gun wound had been reopened, okay, because of the rocks. The rocks had struck at the wound only and the wound had been reopened. The flesh was blackened with powder. Sometime, not many days ago, the man had been shot and had not been tended. Had not been tended means his wound had not been taken care of, and that is why the flesh had turned black. It was bad chance that the rock had struck the wound. So it was his ill luck that the rock had struck at that very point where the wound was. Okay. Oh, how he is bleeding, Hannah whispered again in a solemn voice, in a very serious voice. She just said that he is bleeding profusely. Okay. The mist screened them now completely, and at this time of day, no one came by. The fishermen had gone home, and even the chance beachcombers would have considered the day at an end. Now, who are beachcombers? The people who don't have a regular job and who just live by selling whatever is found near the beach. So they are called beachcombers. Okay. and they also would have gone by now. What shall we do with this man? Sadao muttered. He just mumbled and he just muttered to himself. He said, what are we going to do with this man? But his trained hands seemed of their own will to be doing what they could to stanch the fearful bleeding, to stop the fearful bleeding. He was saying to himself, and he didn't know what to do with the man, but his hands were already doing, they were already doing what they knew the best, and what that was to stop the bleeding, because he was a surgeon, he was a doctor, so his hands were already at the wounds, and they were just trying to stop the flow of the blood there. He packed means he filled the wound with the sea moss that just strewed the beach. That strewed means that was just lying scattered all over the beach. The man moaned with pain. What is moaning? He moaned with pain. He groaned. Okay, he groaned with pain in his stupor. And what is stupor? He was in an unconscious state. He was lying there unconscious, but still, even in his unconscious state, he was feeling the pain and he just moaned. But he did not awaken. The best thing that we could do would be to put him back in the sea. Sadao said, answering himself. So he was muttering to himself, he was talking to himself, and he just said that we should just put him back into the sea. That would be the best thing at this particular point of time, because the war is going on between America and Japan. Now that the bleeding was stopped for the moment, he stood up and he dusted the sand from his hands. Yes, undoubtedly that would be best. This is what his wife also said steadily. But she continued to stare at the motionless man. They were saying one thing, but they were, what were they doing? They were not able to put him back into the sea. They were just staring down at him. If we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested. And if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die. So they thought that they had only two options now. One was to give him shelter. And that was, if they would give him shelter, then what would happen to them? They would be arrested. And if they handed him over to the police, then he would die. So the only thing left to them was to just turn him over to the sea. That would be the best possible alternative at that moment. Okay? So this is what Hannah also said. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea, Hannah said. But neither of them moved. They were staring with a curious repulsion upon this inert figure. What is repulsion? What is repulsion? They were staring with a curious repulsion upon this inert figure. Yes, Malvika, what is repulsion?
Ma'am, strong dislike. Ma'am, strong dislike.
Malvika.
Ma'am, strong dislike.
Okay, Harman Rana. Harman Rana, what is
Ma'am, aversion.
repulsion? I cannot hear you people. Your voice is not audible if you're, even if you're speaking. Okay, okay, there must be a problem in, my headphones then. Okay, fine. So it means they were staring with a curious hatred, with a curious disgust upon this inert figure. And what is inert? Inert, as I already told you, motionless, upon this motionless man. What is he? Hannah whispered. There is something about him that looks American, Sadao said. He took up the battered cap. Battered means torn. The cap that was torn, he just took it up. Yes, there, almost gone, was the faint lettering. And what was written on the cap? A sailor, he said, from an American warship. He spelled it out, US Navy. The man was a prisoner of war. So it was very clear to them now that the person was the American prisoner of war, and he had just escaped. He has escaped, Hannah cried softly, and that is why he is wounded. And because he has tried to escape, he was shot at. In the back, Sadao agreed. They hesitated, looking at each other. Then Hannah said with resolution. With resolution means with firmness, with a lot of determination, she just said, come, are we able to put him back into the sea? If I am able, are you? Sadao asked. No, Hannah said, but if you can do it alone. Sadao hesitated again. The strange thing is, he said, that if the man were whole means that if he was not wounded at all, then I could turn him over to the police without any difficulty. I care nothing for him. And why do I not care for him? Because he is my enemy. He is from an enemy country. He is my enemy. All Americans are my enemy. And he is only a common fellow. And just look at his face. Just see how foolish his face is. But since he is wounded, and why does he leave it the sentence incomplete? Because he's a doctor. He says since he's wounded, and we are taught to save lives. Okay, as long as it is in our hands. So I cannot just hand him over to the police like that. And you also cannot throw him back to the sea, Hannah said. Then there is only one thing to do. And what is that thing? We must carry him into the house. But the servants, Sadao inquired, we must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police. Okay, what are we to tell our servants? That we would be handing him over to the police sooner. Okay, after he gets a little better. So this is our intention, and this is what we would tell the servants. As indeed we must, and we should also do this because it is our duty to hand him over to the police as Japanese people. We must think of the children and your position. Just look at your position. You are such a renowned figure in Japan. You are a famous surgeon, and then you are a scientist. We cannot take any chances, and we have to think about the future of our children also. We would endanger everybody's life if we just keep on letting him stay here. So it would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. Certainly, Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. Thus agreed together, they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time until it is only feathers and skeletons. So he was so light as a bird which has only feathers and skeletons and no flesh. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death, it had not been used. They laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man. So he was, his father was truly a Japanese person to the core. You know, he didn't like anything except for the things that were truly from Japan. So he would never, in his own home, sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. Hannah went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt, and she hesitated. You know, the quilt was covered with flowered silk, and the lining was pure white silk. So it was a silk, the material was silk, and it was so soft. So she didn't want to use that. She didn't want to use that quilt for a person who was so badly wounded, and moreover the person was dirty, and moreover he was from an enemy country. So she didn't feel like using it for him or giving it to him. He is so dirty, she murmured in distress. She felt so, unhappy to see him like that, and she was so, she didn't want to give that quilt to him. Yes, he had better be washed. But Sadao was a doctor. He was thinking on some other line, and he was thinking that he is dirty and he needs to be washed because, he needs to be operated upon. If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. I cannot bear for you to touch him, she said. We shall have to tell the servants he is here. I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children. So Yumi is then the nanny for the children, and she says that I will tell Yumi. She can do the needful, and she can leave the children for a few minutes, and she can wash him. Sadao considered a moment. Let it be so, he agreed. You tell Yumi, and I will tell the others. So they cannot hide it for long from their servants, and they need to tell them. So Sadao just tells his wife to tell Yumi, and he would go and tell the other servants. But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. So he was so pale, the man had lost so much of blood, and he looked so pale. Pallor means the face has turned pale, yellow, and that made him first to bend over him and to look at his to feel his pulse. It was faint. What was faint? The pulse. The pulse was faint, but it was there. He put his hand against the man's cold chest. The heart too was yet alive. Even the heart was beating, even though the heartbeat was not that fast, but it was beating. He will die unless he is operated upon, Sadao said, considering. The question is whether he will not die any way. So what does this mean? He will die unless he's operated upon, and the question is whether he will not die anyway. It means that even if I leave him see, first thing is he says that I would operate upon him, but he would, the question still remains whether he would survive even after the operation or not. Okay, and if I just leave him like that, and if I just hand him over to the police, he's definitely going to die. Hannah cried out in fear. Don't try to save him. What if he should live? So if you try to save him, because you are such an expert doctor, and if you try to save him, then our lives would be in danger. What if he should die? Sadao replied. He stood gazing down on the motionless man. This man must have extraordinary vitality, or he would have been dead by now. So he must have had extraordinary courage. He must have been very brave, and that is why he survived the gunshot, and thereafter the rocks that struck him at that very spot, he survived that. That means that he must be extraordinarily brave. But then he was very young, perhaps not even 25. You mean die from the operation? Hannah asked. Yes, he says he even though he's very brave, he's very courage, he might die from the operation because there has been so much of blood loss. Hannah considered this doubtfully, and when she did not answer, Sadao just turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him, he said, and first he must be washed. The very first thing that we need to do with him, we need to wash him. He needs to be made clean. He went quickly out of the room, and Hannah came behind him. She did not wish to be left alone with the white man. Even though he was unconscious, she felt a kind of repulsion, a kind of hatred, a kind of aversion and she didn't want to be left alone with the man. He was the first she had seen since she left America, and now he seems to have nothing to do with those whom she had known there, even though they had spent so many years in America. But now, because the war was going on, she felt that he was truly her enemy, the enemy of her country. Here he was her enemy, a menace, living or dead. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. But the children heard her voice, and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with a baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. So she had little children. The one was only, the youngest one was only 3 months old. Over the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth, Yumi, come with me. So she just made a gesture and asked Yumi, the nanny, to accompany her. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. Then Hannah led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. The two servants were frightened at what their master had just told them. So, Hannah told Yumi, and Sadao told the other servants. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled a few hairs on his upper lip. So what does this mean? Intention, he was in so much of stress that he started pulling hair on his upper lip. The master ought not to heal the wound of this white man, he said bluntly to Hannah. The white man ought to die, says he should die. First he was shot, it was his bad luck that he was shot. Then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. So who are going to take revenge on us? What does he mean? He means to say that the gun or the sea, they would take revenge, because first the gun shot him and then the sea with her rocks wounded him. So if we try to do anything against those two things, like the gun and the rocks, then they are going to take it, because he's a very, he's an old gardener and he's a very superstitious kind of a person. So he feels on these lines, and he feels that we should never try to, take care of this white man, because he already has had ill luck, and he should be left with his luck, and he should be left to die. I will tell him what you say, Hannah replied courteously. But she herself was also frightened, although she was not superstitious as the old man was. So she just said that I would just pass on your message to Dr. Sadao. Even though she was also afraid, she was also frightened, but she was not the kind of lady, she was not the one who was superstitious. Could it ever be well to help an enemy? Nevertheless, she was just thinking to herself, what what would happen to us if we helped out an enemy. Nevertheless, she just told Yumi to fetch hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. She went ahead and slid back the partitions. Sadao was not yet there. Yumi, following, put down her wooden bucket. Then she went over to the white man. When she saw him, her thick lips folded themselves into stubbornness. So she became very stubborn, and she said, I'm not going to do anything with this, repulsive figure. I've never washed a white man, she said, and I will not wash so dirty a man now. So she says, never in my life have I washed a white man. I'm not going to, wash such a dirty man now. And moreover, he is our enemy, so I don't have anything to do with him. So I think I should just stop here. You can put a mark, and we'll continue from here day after tomorrow, because less than 1 minute is left.